right, well.
Open up. All right, shalom.
Speak a little loud, bro.
First and foremost, we'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto
Yahweh.
Kakadash. Double honors to the apostle elders of Great Millstone, who taught us truth and who rule well. A mighty shalom to the brothers teaching week in and week out on the four corners of the earth, prophesying the downfall of Esau, Edom, as well, as the deliverance of the hopeful elect Israelites. Another shalom, to the hopeful elect on the four corners of the earth, as well as the ones likened to the speckled bird. To you, we say shalom. So with this lesson, we're going to go into various topics as well. We're going to go into an article as well. We're going to get started. You want to start with Isaiah 19?
19 and 4.
If I may, I can give a little background. Yeah, because we coming into a time where the enemy coming down like a flood, man. Okay. And he's going to really show his horns. When it comes to persecuting the people, persecuting the saints, man. So he's gonna come down with great wrath, man. Why? Because he knows you had a short time, man. And with that, it's certain unrighteous decrees, that he has to put in place, in order to what defame you, man.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
To justify.
Just to justify his coming down upon you, man. You see what I'm saying? But first day he got to defame you in the news, defame you amongst your family and to make them believe that slander. Yeah, that slander, man. Why? Because he's the accuser of the brother, man. Somebody can get that as well too. He's the accuser of the brother. And he's gonna come down with great wrath, man, and try to defame you so he can feel justified, and to making this movement, man.
Yeah.
This is what the article we about to come into, man. We know, as the scripture says, we're not ignorant of his devices.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and what he's doing is he's using this whole immigrant crisis, with the Northern Kingdom, which is this fucking land is filled with immigrants. This land was built on fucking immigrants, man. You know what I'm saying? In a sense, they stole. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But at the same time, he's gonna use that plateau to justify him signing these unrighteous creeds. Because in reality, he's gonna wage war on all you people, man. Even you Edomites. Y'all gonna catch it too as well. He don't, because the scripture say, that's why I say he's gonna come down with great wrath upon all the people.
That's it.
Not just Jake. Jake gonna get it, but it's gonna be all you people, man.
Yep.
Because his whole goal is pretty much to get every nation under pretty much one consent under this MOTB system.
Absolutely.
I could start off reading, and then you can get the article. Isaiah 19 and 4. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hands of a cruel lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, said the Lord of hosts.
Yeah.
And the water shall fail from sea, and the river shall be waste and dried up. And if I may, that goes into what? The economy. And what these terrorists is doing, which they at least purposely doing these things. They making it seem like it's really a trade war between China, but really they want to collapse this dollar globally, man, to bring forth this digital system, man. That's why, because the waters, because back in ancient Egypt, the Nile River was pretty much, they worship it. It was one of their main sources of income. They got a lot of money out because you could do trade by sea, the fish market, the different lilies and shit and things that grew amongst it, and also the Nile River flooded. So the land that was next to it was very fertile. So, but the Nile, this is likened unto what? Speaking of now, the economy now. That's why you got the term bank. You get the currency, like the current of the water, the bank, the bank.
Because it's moving.
Yeah.
And that's what that's what that alternate current, direct current is, the AC/DC.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's thriving. You know what I'm saying? And we in that, and what's spiritually known as Egypt as well right now, man, known as America.
Yeah.
What the brother's getting into.
They said the flow of money.
Absolutely.
It says verse 6, and they shall turn the rivers far away, and the brooks of the fence shall be emptied and dried up.
Right, it's gonna come to a point, man, where all that's gonna be ceasing, man.
Yeah.
And these devils are setting up the ranks, and setting it up to where it's gonna be a totalitarianism type of government, man. To where you're gonna have just the elites, the 1% ruling, and no type of in between, man. it's gonna be elites and poor, man. You know, and their mission is to get everybody under one consent, under that RFID. You know what I'm saying? To be able to control the masses, to control the people. Okay, and to heap all the people unto him, man.
Yeah.
You know, this is the agenda in a nutshell of this devil, man, because it's total control, man.
Well, you got the Agenda 2030. You know, and that's why he's hastening these things up. These devils want to get everything established by 2030. Now, you know, Yahweh forbid we be there that long, but hey,
Right.
we know that the time we in these times, man. We believe in our lifetime. You know, based off what we seeing via through the prophecies that hey, the end is near. You know, it says
yeah, because we hasten in the day.
Con.
You know what I'm saying? You know, and the scriptures say, man, no man, you know, Yahweh Shai said, no man knows the day or the hour, man.
Yeah.
You know, but the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, man. You know, but the Lord has given us a measurement of time or a measurement of arrival of when He was going to come, man. What's that? Matthew 24, 2nd Ezra chapter 9. These times that the Lord gave us in order for us to get ready on what's to come, man.
Con.
You know? Go ahead, big
It
bro.
says, and the river shall, verse 6, and the river shall turn far away, and the brooks of defense shall be emptied and dried up.
Mm-hmm.
The reeds and the flags shall wither.
Mm-hmm.
The paper reed by brooks by the mouth of the brook, and everything sown by the brook shall wither, be driven away, and be no more. And Apostle Tahar just did a mighty lesson going to Nero, Caesar, which we believe through the Spirit that Trump is that guy. He did a lesson going to how, you know, pretty much Nero Caesar, you know, pretty much played the instrument while he watched Rome burn. And he was responsible for Rome burning, man. And the same thing he's doing now, but Rome is burning what? The economy is burning up.
Yeah, it's falling.
It's falling. And what he's doing right now, playing golf.
Playing golf, no.
You know, he don't give a fuck about you people, man.
Absolutely.
Because he's doing the bidding of the elites.
Absolutely.
See, you people don't know what the hell's going on, man. Because when you look at his whole cabinet, who he got all lined up behind him? Amalek, man. MAGA, make America knows make Amalek great. You know, just Amalek is the so-called JOOs. Yeah. It says, and the fishers also shall mourn, and all they that cast angles into the brook shall lament, the investors. Because when you fish, it's like you're investing. Because why? When you invest, it takes time, patience.
It's not guaranteed.
Yeah, it's not guaranteed that you're gonna get back on your turn. You know, and that's what's happening with the economy.
The stock market.
Yeah, the stock market.
You're seeing that the gold, you know, is at what, 32 or 33, almost 3,300.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying, for an ounce now. You see what I'm saying? It's never been that way. You know what I'm saying? And ever, man. It's never been that high. You know, this devil is pretty much purposely sabotaging the economy, man.
Yeah.
You know, why? Because they want it to fall.
Yep.
You know, this is their whole agenda. It's not just an American thing, man. This is a global thing, man. You see what I'm saying? That's why it says it's going to cause all, both small and great, rich and poor, to be down, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this is not just a thing that's going to happen in America, man. It's going to be, you know, the elites is ruling the whole earth now. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a worldwide tragedy.
Yeah, and they all divided. The beautiful part about it, they're divided in this plan. You know? That's why when we jump up in verse 2, the Egyptians going to rise, the Egyptians going to versus, because this shit all going to lead to civil unrest, civil war. The people ain't going to have no regards for the kings or prince. You know, especially when these Edomites really find out, you know, which a lot of them waking up now, these MAGA, they going to lose their mind. Because why? What they doing through this terror is destroying the middle class, which that's what the devils want. Any thriving society, you have to have a middle class. The middle class is like the backbone. It keeps everything in check. You know what I'm saying? But now without the middle class, you know, now you have, you know, it's imbalance, man.
Kind of like not having the spine, you know, in your body.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's gonna fall, man.
Yeah.
And this is why they're implementing that, you know, artificial intelligence and that MOTB, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what they're gonna, you know, try to rely on, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're gonna try to rely on their sorcery. You see what I'm saying? To be able to, you know, what Elon said, he had to summon demons, man, to actually get this up and going, man.
Yep.
You know, but I forget the dude. I think he's from overseas somewhere. He's the father of AI. I forget his name. Yeah, Google it. Just Google the father of AI. They was speaking. He had to step down from his position. I forget where he's from. John McCarthy. You know, and where is he from? I think he's from somewhere overseas.
Might be German or something.
Yeah, but the point is he had ended up stepping down. Why? Because he was saying that, you know, this artificial intelligence, man, is pretty much gonna turn on man. You know what I'm saying? You know, so something that he stepped down to do. Hey, Elon Musk stepped up in that place, like, hey, man, nah, we gonna do this.
Yep.
You know,
Hey,
go ahead.
that's what the Lord said for in the Wisdom of Solomon for the devising of idols is the beginning and the end of all of spiritual fornication, man.
Absolutely, the beginning and end.
Yeah.
Man. Hey, that's what happened in the garden, man. You know, and that was at the beginning where, you know, Eve, starting with Eve, you know, because she's the beginning of sin, you know, and through her we all died, you know. But that's where Adam, you know, fell, you know, for that idolatry worship, man.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what, man? That's gonna be the end of this thing too, man.
Yeah.
You know. Go ahead, big bro.
A little bit more. It says, and the fishers, I'll read verse 8 again. And the fishers also shall mourn, and all that cast angles into the brook shall lament. And they that spread nets upon the water shall languish. Moreover, they that work in fine flax, and they that weave network shall be confounded. These warehouses, you know, they're going to lose these merchant ships. They said a lot of these merchant ships are drying up. I think Elder Yasharama just did a lesson on that, you know.
Yeah, the trucks.
Yep.
As well as the truck.
Transportation.
Yeah.
When this truck stop transport, you know, this economy is done.
Yeah.
You know?
And what they trying to do with the trucking industry, they trying to bring self-driving trucks.
Yeah.
They trying to weed out the truck driver, man. You know, which is completely fucking wicked. And that's why a lot of these truckers, you know, over the last years, they've been transitioned from trucks, because usually truck driver was a skill. You stick shift.
Yeah, now it's automatic.
Now it's automatic.
And then now they open up for a lot of women, you know what I'm saying, to become truck drivers as well too. Now you're seeing an influx of women, you know what I'm saying, becoming truck drivers, and they proud too.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, which is gonna cause more mass confusion. Man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you women are at ease. You know what I'm saying? Hey man, you gotta be careful, man, because you won't end up missing, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You hauling some goods in the town where motherfucker, they gonna rape your ass and take that truck. Cause certain when these stores start closing down and they see you rolling, they see a certain truck, oh, you best believe motherfucker gonna be blocking the road. Get the fuck out the truck, man. What's what you got back here?
Absolutely.
You know? They may take your ass, get your ass, blow your head off, or you know, if you're a woman, they find a little woman, or a woman, they probably take you, rape you.
You're gonna be booty.
Yeah. Yeah. It says verse 10, and they shall be broken in purpose thereof, and all the sluices in the ponds for the fish. I mean, all that makes sluices and ponds for the fish. What the hell is that? I ain't never heard that word.
Look it up.
It's called sluices. This is in verse 10.
Probably food.
Yep.
Wages.
Oh, you're gonna be tributaries, man.
Ooh.
Yeah, you're gonna be tributaries. Wages of war, man. You're gonna be spoils of war, man. You know. Hey, but that's what this economy is coming into to a place to where, you know, it's gonna be sedition, you know, among men. You know what I mean? And all that, man.
Yeah.
You know, this is the times that we're entering into, man.
Huh.
You know, go ahead, bro.
You want to finish that?
That was it on that. But I mean, I could jump down, but I just want to get that article, and I can still finish off.
You got a quick piece of
Yeah.
Yeah, what you just
Go
paraphrase. This is second Esdras chapter 15,
Speak a little louder for the phone.
and starting at 16, it says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another.
Yeah.
They shall not regard their kings nor princes,
Yeah.
and the course of their actions shall stand in their power."
Right, and of course they're actually gonna stand in their power, man. You know what I'm saying? This is why they're gonna try to implement that RFID, man. You know? And the enemy is gonna come in like a flood, man, with those black boots, man. Okay?
And that's why Esau, he's going to use Jake as a means, as a distraction, as somebody to use blame upon, but meanwhile, this nigga's tanking the economy.
Yeah.
You know, that's what they doing. They blaming China.
Yeah.
And people gonna wake up like, no, nigga, it's you, nigga. You know, that's why they're gonna turn on these government officials. They're gonna realize these people gonna realize that your government been sold you out, man.
Yeah.
Your government is bought and paid for by the rich elite family, man.
Exactly.
They been bought and paid for, man.
Yeah.
Going way back to fucking Harry Truman and all, you know what I'm saying? Even before him, man.
Yeah.
You know? And it's all the will of the Lord at the end of the day, because you have no constitutional rights, man. You people don't have no goddamn constitutional rights. You know? You think you do. You don't. And he finna show you, and that's what the two things is getting in these devil's way of the MOTB is the American Constitution and the Bible. And those two things that needs to go.
Yeah, that's the two things that they're trying to get rid of right now, man. You know what I'm saying? Right now, man. That Constitution, because that Bible is a Constitution.
To them, yeah.
Yeah, you know, to us, you know, and of course to them as well too. And it's pretty much a threat to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because they understand that's something to, you know, go against in a sense, man.
Mm-hmm.
This system, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So anything that's going to go against this system, they don't want nothing to do with it, you know? And you're going to be considered as an enemy of the state.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? And with that, you know, we can segue into that article as well too, because that article, you know, is going to be another one of his devices that he's going to try to pull, you know, mainly that device is for us, you know, so us, you know, why? Because we're going to be speaking about it. We're going to be preaching it, man.
Yeah.
You know?
And it was with the one that's the freedom of speech, constitutional right. They got to get rid of that too as well.
Absolutely.
Freedom of press.
Yeah.
You know, they've been attacked at the freedom of Operation Mockingbird.
Yeah.
Pretty much out of an alphabet gang, the C to the I, you know, and Izzy, you know, pretty much hijacked, you know, all the news outlet in America and globally.
Yeah, and that's what that word espionage is
Yeah.
goes into as well too. You know, spying on the people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And all that, man, was all, you know, a means to, you know, destroy, you know, the economy, and you know, to bring that chaos, man. You know,
and weed out any of those that have that's contrary to their ways.
Absolutely.
You know, we get the article.
Yeah, let's go into that.
It says, how you pronounce it?
Habeas corpus.
Speak a little louder.
Yeah, speak out.
Con, this is CNN.com. It says, what is habeas corpus? The legal procedure Trump is considering suspending.
So habeas corpus is a legal procedure that Trump, you know, is trying to suspend now, you know, and it's going to go into it about the habeas corpus. Go ahead, bro.
It says, what is habeas corpus? Habeas corpus is a legal principle that allows people who believe they are being unlawfully detained or imprisoned to petition for their release in court.
Right, it ain't no coincidence that this devil is trying to, what they say, they trying to open back up Alcatraz.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He has talks of sending people over there to Guantanamo Bay.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
El Salvador,
you know. Hey, talking about Americans, man.
Yeah.
You know, like what we said, man. It's a part of the Constitution, man.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey, because it was a clip of Joe Rogan. Mm-hmm. He's speaking out against us, which we know he's a lot of these insider, probably paid out. You know.
What they said, controlled opposition.
Yeah, controlled opposition. But he said, man, it's kind of wicked. I mean, not wicked. He said that's off because under the Constitution, whether you're born here or you come here.
Right.
You're under their laws of that land, of the Constitution, which the Constitution still protects you whether you're a citizen of America or not.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, but now he's trying to get rid of that, man. Which it goes into what we were speaking of earlier, those unrighteous decrees, man.
Yeah.
You know? You got it out. Pull it so I can pull it.
Revelations 2.
10.
Yeah, because a justification, you see what I'm saying, that he's going to need, you know, to come down on mainly the elect, man. Like, you know, say it again.
Like the witness.
Absolutely, that's exactly what he's trying to do. Or
Banish them.
Banish them.
Yeah,
You see them, just like the time of
John the Baptist.
John the Baptist, man. You know, he was banished to the Isle of Patmos, man.
When he wrote that, it's crazy. As we read Revelations, he wrote He was in on Patmos.
No, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. You know. So we not ignorant. We already got a heads up on what, you know what I'm saying, what to expect from this devil.
Yeah.
Why? Because we are totally against this government. You know, we are actually, you know, trying to set up a new government under Yahweh Shai, man. You know, and spearheaded by Yahweh Shai, man. Because a new government is going to come back. The government goes into what? Control of the mind. You know, that word gov goes into control
Mente.
of govern. Yeah, and ment goes into your mind, man.
Yeah.
You know, and the minds of the people now is in mourning, man.
Yeah, they've been governed. Their minds being governed under the control of wickedness. Well, we're gonna control the people's minds. We're gonna persuade the masses to what? To do what is right.
That's right.
First, starting off by with that rod of iron.
Absolutely.
You know, purging out the rebels of our nation.
Absolutely.
Which and then it's gonna eventually the kingdom is gonna be every nation is gonna fucking follow our laws, man. And it's gonna get to a point the heathen's gonna enjoy it.
Yeah.
And then you devils, you're gonna be eradicated.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna rejoice when that day comes.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, man, thank God these people are. That they see how the earth is gonna be set up
Yep.
by the creators under the creator. You know.
Yeah, and they're gonna see how much they were lacking.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You know, we're gonna see how much the earth waxed worse. And then after these devils is eradicated, man, because they're a cancer, man. You know what I'm saying? The only thing to do with the cancer, man, is to what? Burn it out.
Mm-hmm.
You know? To burn it out of your body, man. You see what I'm saying? And they need to be eradicated, bro. Because they are making the earth worse. You know? The whole earth is mourning, man.
Turned
The
into a
whole creature.
wilderness.
Yeah, it turned into a wilderness, man.
Yeah.
You know? Under the control of this devil, man. You know? Go ahead, big bro. Give what you got.
We're gonna read Revelation 2:10.
Yep.
I can read it. Revelation 2:10 says, "Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried."
Yeah, the Lord told us to fear none of these things, man. You know what I'm saying? Meaning what? Ecclesiastes chapter 2 talks about, my son, when thou comes to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, make not haste in the time of trouble, man.
Done.
You know? So in these times where Jacob's trouble is really here, you know what I'm saying? And he's trying to just set up the ranks right now and move his pieces in place. You know what I'm saying? With these unrighteous decrees and these laws, you know, now he's gonna feel justified to come down the way he needs to come down on us, man.
Yeah.
You know, but first he has to defame us, you know, and make the masses believe that he's doing a wonderful job to protect the people, you know, the American people or whatever, you know.
Yeah, like he said, one of his press speeches. Yeah, we're gonna bring military into his communities that's heavy with crime. The black people, they're crying for it. Black people ain't crying for no fucking military to come in their neighborhood.
Hell no.
Shut the fuck up. If anybody says, probably these coon ass sucker niggas
Absolutely.
that you set up to say shit like that.
These politicians,
Yeah.
these Christian pastors, you
Motherfucker
know, that's actually gonna benefit from that,
Yeah.
you know. But it ain't the average Jake, man. The average Jake don't want to fuck with, you know. Yeah.
Jake don't even fuck with the police.
Right.
So you think he
the military?
Yeah, we need that in our neighborhood. You know, get the hell up out of here.
Exactly.
Which a lot of these crimes, yeah, Jake do crimes, but a lot of times Esau be lying and overhype the shit.
For sure.
You know, a lot of shit, you know, don't not to say Jake ain't out here doing crazy shit, but you know,
we ain't just trying to justify Jake, though.
yeah, Jake do be doing some wicked
He
shit.
blowing it out of proportion though.
You know?
Yeah, but they be blowing it out of proportion.
Yeah, but as the king, so is the people.
Yeah.
You know, that's just a learned behavior that was learned from what he had actually seen, man.
Yeah.
What he actually see you doing in your rulership, man.
You do this shit globally.
Absolutely, you do it on a global stage, man. Jake just do it in his hood, in his neighborhood, and you come down on Jake. You know what I'm saying? Like he's the worst thing smoking.
Yeah.
When you do, you got the power to actually do this thing, man.
You bomb niggas.
Right, exactly. You send weather patterns, you know, to like he did in California, man. You know what I'm saying? To destroy whole neighborhoods, man.
Yeah, laser beams from the sky.
Exactly.
What's the dew.
Yeah, con.
Mountain Dew and niggas.
Exactly. Man. You know, hey, a whole fire, you know, been going on. You got all this. You heard about them that rich couple down there in California who own, you know, 90% of the water.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Over there in that area.
That shouldn't even be possible.
You own the water. You know, you own 90% of the water. You You see what I'm saying? And you could have been to put the fires out, but because you own it, they own your, you know, you don't want to put the fires out. They don't want to use your water.
You ain't trying to ruin your investment.
Well, that was a controlled demolition.
Yeah, how you own water?
Right, exactly.
You ain't even create this.
Exactly.
You know, like the nigga from Nestle said, water is a
Privilege.
yeah, it's a privilege.
What the shit is that? You know?
When you look at that nigga don't even look right. To show you the pride of it, it's a sense of entitlement that this devil has, man. It's beyond. Even we ourselves can't comprehend it. Like, you know, we like, like this. The Lord has created literally a perfect villain.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's the perfect villain.
Yeah.
You know? That has to be destroyed. Go ahead with that article. Finish up with that article.
It says.
Hey, read that again.
It says, what is habeas corpus? It says habeas corpus is legal principle that allows people who believe they are being unlawfully detained or imprisoned to petition for their release in court.
Right, so it ain't gonna be no more right to a jury. You know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna be no more unconstitutional rights. You know what I'm saying? Or well, you know, Jake like to throw that out there. Oh, man, no rights. Oh, you can't do that. Ain't gonna be no more of that.
Esau too. I know my rights.
Oh man, if the Constitution says, you know, all them videos now that they be trying to go against the
police.
Yeah, but now what he's doing now is what? Militarizing the police. You see what I'm saying? So, go ahead.
It's like I don't want to cut you off, but if I may, that's why they got to bring robots because
2%.
That's why. That's why they're gonna need robots.
Send that to him. Say your phone on 2%. You need to send that article out. ASAP. I might have to send you this.
But I'm gonna pause my video because I'm.
It says, how serious would suspending habeas corpus be? It says be an absolute disaster. The executive would just detain you, and there will be no recourse.
Yeah, and that showed you when the concentration camps was during the time of Pearl Harbor. You know, where those Japanese, they started to
on the West Coast.
Yeah, they started to uplift, you know, resurrect a lot of those concentration camps and started illegally deporting those Japanese, man, and putting them in concentration camps, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, and Japan has not forgotten that as well either, man.
No.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Even though they're allies, you know, to America now, but it's gonna come to a point where, you know, I believe, I'm speaking as a man, you know, I believe China is gonna take over Japan, bro.
They're gonna join together and fire missiles. And North Korea, they're gonna fire missiles on y'all ass, man.
It just makes sense. Wouldn't it be cool?
You know what I mean? They right there.
Yeah,
you know
that's
they
matter of fact,
right
I think you're right, because matter of fact, they did say with these terrorists, China and Japan are forced to kind of work with each other now.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'll just get it from you.
Okay, yeah, you know, because, you know, hey, you know, well, we already know that, you know, these other nations, you know, what they say, let the weak say I'm strong. You know, Japan is considered a weak nation compared to America. Huh?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's gonna come the way that this devil is putting these tariffs in. You know, putting these tariffs in and demolition of America, man. Guess what, man? They ain't gonna have no other choice but to join with the BRICS nation, man. You know, with China and Russia. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, they starting to see America for the whore that she is, man.
Yeah.
You know, because America is nothing but a whore, man. And you know, anything about a whore, she only deals with, you know, those who she can benefit off of, man.
Yeah, she use you until she has no use for you.
Until she has no use for you, man. And then she's gonna get rid of you, man. If you don't want to, and that was shown, you know, through what? Saddam Hussein. You know what I'm saying? Muammar Gaddafi. You see what I'm saying? Hey, they didn't want to deal with that whore anymore, man. So what did he do, man? He caused, you know, he came down on them, you know what I'm saying, and made them out to be the next boogeyman.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, it's war in Iraq. You know, war with Muammar Gaddafi.
He's backdooring.
Right, you know?
The ultimate backdoor.
Absolutely, man. You know? Which ultimately caused them to be killed, man. You know, what's that? Revelation 13. He said those who would not worship the image of the beast should be killed, man. You know?
Get down and lay down.
Right, and that's the mentality they're in, man. You know? So this is why they're making these unrighteous decrees and coming up with certain ways to defame, the American people, but mainly the elect.
Yeah, that's their main target.
That's because we're their main target.
But they can't. What it is, they can't roll on the elect like that. So they gotta be crafty with it.
They gotta accuse it.
Yeah.
And that's what that word devil. You know what I'm saying? That word devil goes into the accuser, man.
I think it goes to categorize.
Categorize, yeah. He putting you in a category, bro,
Yeah.
for a reason, man. To destroy you, man. Go ahead, get what you got, man. You can finish that.
Oh, that was it. That was it, and the rest of that.
Nah, it's more than that. All right. You talking about the article?
I did send it to you, bro.
Your phone on?
It's on 100%.
Oh, yeah.
They probably ain't gonna get it because it's on that do not disturb.
Yeah, because I don't want you to open it up, man.
Yeah, and then
Could you read a little bit more on it?
Kind of says,
Until
obviously,
yours, go out?
kind of says, obviously, they would do it to try to detain certain non-citizens, but there's no reason why it's limited to them.
Yeah, ain't no reason why it's limited to the American people, especially when because that's what they're gonna do is get rid of the Constitution.
yeah,
So that's the main point. Once you get rid of the Constitution, and the only way to do that is to deem martial law. You see what I'm saying? When he deemed martial law, upon America, then guess what? Hey, the Constitution is out of there now. Everything is under the guidance and the rule of the military, man,
and the president.
and the president.
Because who's head of the military is the president.
Absolutely.
I think it was they call it the executive or you got the judicial.
Judicial and the executive
Yeah,
branch.
yeah, you got the judicial. I forget the third one.
Con. Yeah.
I think the president falls on the executive.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely, bro. And that's pretty much their plans, man. That's exactly what he wanted.
I forget the third one.
I forget it was the three branches.
Yeah, the three were
Judicial, executive, and damn, see if you can Google it right quick before your phone go out. For the brother, absolutely, and that's exactly what, their plans is to do, man.
Legislative.
Yeah. Which they all work. They all work
Through the
together.
law,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's why we got unrighteous decrees. You got that.
I got
Isaiah
it.
10. Bring it out, bro.
Isaiah 10:1, it says, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decree, and that write grievousness which they prescribe, which they have prescribed."
Right, they prescribed it for, hey, yours truly, Jake. You know what I'm saying? Mainly for you 2/3, because really, you know what I'm saying? Really, that's not for the elect, man. They're gonna try to, demonize them. Really, man. Hey, this cruel Lord is militarizing the police and setting up these certain laws. Hey, for you 2/3, man.
Yeah, the Lord gonna use that. It's really just to bring the sword to you niggas. Not to say, yeah, someone's gonna have to be martyrs for the truth, but that's really that sword is being furbished and being sharpened, like it says in the book of Ezekiel 21.
Oh man, get Romans chapter 3. Go ahead, bro.
Like in the Ezekiel the 21st chapter, what it says, the sword is being sharpened. It's being placed in the hand of the slayer.
3 where he talks about where it talks about the is that in Romans where he talking about what the officer is pretty much not agree with I have to say it quickly, but the officer is pretty much made for if you're doing good.
Oh yeah.
I think it's in Romans 3, it's starting at the beginning or something like that.
Can I get this one real
Go
quick?
ahead, big bro.
This is Isaiah 29 to 21. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start at 20. It says, "For the terrible one is brought to naught." And who's the terrible one? Esau. And that's the judgment that's gonna come to your ass, man. And the scorner is consumed, and all that watch for iniquity are cut off. So all that watch for iniquity, and Esau, he's the wicked one. The scriptures say what? This devil don't go to rest unless he done evil, man. It said, but this is the point, verse 21, that make a man and an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the jest for a thing of naught. Because like we're saying, man, these devils' main target, it's pretty much the men of the Lord. And also they want to, like we said earlier, they want to get rid of the Bible, they want to get rid of the Constitution. And anybody that has any particular point that's speaking out against these devils, they pretty much planning to X your ass, man. But the beautiful part about it, that the elect is going to get the victory through all of it, man. And all these pseudo camps, because they're going to use these pseudo camps, to pretty much, justify and rolling on us, man. That's why you seeing the UIC guys linking with the Nation of Islam. That's why you seeing videos of the Through PK.
Yeah.
Not this. Doing all that military shit. And you guys, the clips of Sakari going to camp with pipes and shit. They're gonna use all that. Not to say, we do believe that, that our men of the elect and, the sisters that may follow these camps, that's of the elect, we do believe that. But we speaking to these leaders, man. These leaders sold out.
Yeah.
And it's clear as day. These 501c3 charter niggas, man, they sold out. And they took the bag.
Absolutely.
And Esau gonna use what they have done, videos and clips and shit, right along with other fake shit, to pretty much demonize, the truth and justify them rolling. But the beautiful part about it, hey, the elect ain't gonna get through all that.
Precept.
You got that.
2nd Ezra 16 and 71.
That's the spirit.
You can speak on it. Go ahead.
They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. So just like what the brothers was bringing up, the perfect precept go with that is, Revelation 12:12. Coming down with great wrath, because you have for a short time. So Esau is gonna roll up on the men of the Lord, it says, verse 73. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire. So we're gonna be going through it, but the ones that endure to the end, those gonna be the ones that the Lord's, they're gonna be the Lord's chosen. They're gonna be the elect.
Absolutely.
They're gonna be made manifest.
I got it.
You got
Romans 13.
That's it, 13. I knew 3 was in there. What I say, Romans 3?
Yeah, Romans 13.
That's it, bro. Go ahead, bring that out, bro. Because hey, this pretty much this cruel Lord is setting up. Because us, man, we doing what we supposed to be doing, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we do believe that we're gonna be delivered up. Some of us gonna be beheaded for the witness of Yahushua. And some of us gonna be thrown in the prisons. But we're gonna be found blameless in this sense, man.
Hey,
go ahead.
It's like, because we're reading Judges and read about that wicked dude, Abimelech.
Abimelech.
Yeah. Remember, one of Gideon's sons told him, hey, just because you picked him to be your Lord, pretty much your ruler, he's going to turn on y'all. Pretty much he prophesied he's going to be the one that's going to turn on you.
Absolutely.
And that's what is going to happen in spirit. That's what's going to happen to the 2/3 is why you trust in oppression.
Absolutely.
You went down in the shadow of Egypt for help. Mm-hmm. So let him rule over you.
Yeah.
And he's a cruel Lord. He don't give a fuck about you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
This man don't even care about himself. This nigga's blocking out the sun. He's willing to destroy the earth.
Yeah.
Let me get that Romans 13 and straight to the point. And 3 for rulers. Verse 13 and 1 says, let every soul be subject unto higher powers.
Yeah, let every soldier be subject under the higher powers. You know what I'm saying? That's what the Lord is telling us. What the scripture say, agree with thy adversary quickly, man. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no need. That's what Yahushua was doing, man. You know what I'm saying? When he was delivered up, it wasn't no point for him. He already knew his fate anyway.
Yeah.
He already knew their agenda against him anyway, man. No matter what, he could have said he wouldn't have been able to get himself out that situation anyway, man.
But this scripture is this to know when it comes to what the MOTB, because that's a command.
Absolutely.
So when that comes, because you got to cancel you. Well, he said it's subject to a higher power, so we got to take the nigga. The Lord said don't take that.
Don't take that.
This law doesn't apply when it comes to that.
Hey, the scripture say it. He said you better pray the Most High power instead of man. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Hey, we rather obey the Lord, man.
Yeah.
All right.
It says, for there is no power but of the Most High, and the powers that
he said there's no power of the Most High because the Lord set up these, entities in there, for the wicked, man, and for the righteous. Okay? Go ahead.
Hey, Daniel 4:17, the Lord ruleth in the kingdom of man. He set up the basis of man, roughly paraphrasing, man. So he said, whether you thought you voted or not, he put Trump in office.
Yeah.
He put this cabinet together. He set Elon dirty ass up, whether he know it or not. And at the same time we know that they just puppets.
Absolutely.
of a control by the cabal of elites.
Yeah.
But who control them? The Lord.
Lord, yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
It says, the powers that be are ordained of the Most High. Whosoever therefore resists the power, resists the ordinance of the Most High. That's why we're not justifying and acting vengeance on our own.
Exactly.
We got subject to this captivity. So it's the will of the Lord. But when that MOTB roll out, the Lord said don't take that shit. That's when we like, no, nigga, we ain't doing that. The Lord said don't do that.
Absolutely.
Because why? That's an idol.
Come.
And that's part of the command of the Lord. You should have no idols before me, man.
That's it, yeah.
You know? Because in this system, you got Christianity. Do we condone to that? Fuck no.
No, exactly.
You got Islam. You know, but do we go to the mosque? No, man. The Lord said what? Not to do that.
Exactly.
You know? It says, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. Because you got the ayahs, them niggas, yeah, we ready.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
But man, we no cowards.
Right.
But what was the no coward spirit when when you had to roll that sleeve up with the shades on?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
What about in Kenya?
Yeah.
That's how you gotta see it.
Yeah. There was that no coward spirit then. You should stay bold out there.
To the death.
Yeah, to the death. Hell up out of here, man. It says, verse 3, for rulers are not a terror to good works.
Hey, you hear that? Rulers are not a terror of good works. You know, so if we out here doing what we supposed to do, watching as well as praying, you know, occupying until the Lord come, all right? Those rulers that the Lord put in place, these wicked rulers that the Lord put in place, not a terror of us doing good works, man. You know, because we're showing our faith by our works. You know what I'm saying? And we're showing how much faith we got in the Lord, man. Okay, by occupying till the Lord come. So this ain't gonna be for us. Go ahead.
It says, wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good. It said, do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same.
Yeah.
For he is the minister of the Most High to thee for good.
Hey, he's just the minister. Hey, Esau, Edom,
It's
you
a
know,
servant.
his true law is just a servant of the Most High power.
Okay.
And he's there, you know, for the wicked.
Con.
Go
But what
ahead.
he is, he's the physical manifestation of Satan on the earth.
Absolutely, yeah.
But who Satan, the spiritual demon Satan, serves?
Con, the Most High.
The
power.
Most High.
Exactly.
So what this devil know it directly? You still serve the Lord.
Exactly.
You doing it a bit in the Lord on the left hand.
Yeah.
To bring about the will that the Lord got for the right hand. Nigga, at the end of the day, which the will of the Lord, and ultimately at the end of the day, is for the elect to rule under whom you call Jesus Christ, Yahweh Shai.
Yeah.
And them devils know that. That's why they trying to fight they way out the will. They really trying to fight against the will of the
Trying to
Lord.
rewrite the script.
Yeah, can't do that.
Yeah. Hey, whether it's directly or indirectly, they serving the Lord. They ministers of the Lord. Hey, you see that fish or something?
Yeah.
Look. You see it?
Had to call something.
It's like a trot.
No, that's that mom jumping up.
I thought it was what's the name?
Like a
bird
trout.
that went over there.
No, that mother just
Oh yeah, we gotta go over here.
Yeah, we
Fish.
gotta come over here and fish. Go ahead, bro.
It says,
Yeah, Romans 13.
at 4, I'm gonna read it again. For he is a minister of the Most High to thee for good. For if thou do that which is evil, be afraid. For he beareth not the sword in vain.
Right. If you do what's evil, then you gotta be afraid, man. Hey, we not gonna be afraid, man. Okay? We're not gonna be afraid because, you know, hey, the authorities that the Lord, these wicked authorities that the Lord is putting in place is not for us, man. Because we ain't doing evil anymore, man. You know?
That's why it's so important to repent now, man.
Absolutely.
Whatever you're doing, man, get your shit together, man. Because the doors of mercy is closed.
Absolutely.
You know, the Lord, he got the prophets out there for a reason, you know? Because let's let you know his mercy is, his hand is still stretched.
Yeah, the extension.
Yeah.
The prophets are the extension of the Lord. You know? Go ahead, Reverend.
It says, for he is the minister of the Most High, a revenger to execute wrath on him that doeth evil.
Hey, he's you see that?
Psalm 17. He's the sword. This is the sword of the Lord.
Yeah.
Esau's the sword, and what he's blessed with.
Yeah.
Who gave him the sword?
Hey, Isaac, it was just Yahweh.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. And that's what David said, man. Deliver me from thine enemy, which is thy sword, man. You see what I'm saying? So, hey, that sword was really put here to execute the Lord's vengeance. You know what I'm saying? That sword gave Esau Edom. All right? And with that, 2/3 of the people, what do you say? Judgment should start at my sanctuary.
Yeah.
You know, at the house of Israel first, man. So that's really not for the elect, man.
Yeah.
You know. Hey, although, you know, we're going to be martyrs, you know, and witnesses, and the Lord is going to give us the words to say when they deliver us up to those prison houses or, to our death. But guess what? We're going to be found blameless in the eyes of the Lord, man.
God.
Absolutely, bro.
God.
Go ahead. There's more to it.
Just one more. It says, wherefore ye must needs be subject, not only for wrath, but also for conscience sake.
That's it.
So pretty much, you gotta just do what's right, man. That's what I was gonna say. Should we then make mirth?
Right.
In the book of Ezekiel, man, knowing that the Lord sharpened that sword, for judgment. Should you make mirth? It's like your dad, getting that belt ready.
Yeah.
And you better get your shit together, otherwise I'm finna whoop your ass. What you gonna still be playing games and shit?
Right,
Your dad tell you, hey, clean this motherfucking room up. Your mom may come in like, hey man, you better clean your room up. He getting that belt ready.
Yeah, and the sword is Esau, and how he's getting sharpened is he's getting bolder. You know what I'm saying? The Lord is putting a bold, proud spirit, on the devil, and that's how he's sharpening and getting him ready, man, to come in like a flood. But the Lord is what he said. He's going to lift up what? A standard, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Hey, we're going to be a standard in those days, man. Yeah. And we're going to stand rooted and grounded like a flag is planted. We're not going to be tossed to and fro, man. And we're going to understand, even if, what he said, that they love not their lives unto the death, man, even if it causes our death, man.
He said every hair on your head is accounted for.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
The Lord, he's not unrighteous to forget
your labor of love.
Your labor of love.
Yeah.
And this is a labor of love. We do this out of love.
Absolutely.
We don't do this just to be seen or look at me or some shit just to be doing. Mm-hmm. Oh, I gotta go teach.
Right.
They
it's reasonable service.
Yeah.
Like Paul said, it's our reasonable service, man. Like we love to do this, man.
You get mad when you ain't getting when the spirit ain't. You like, damn, man. We pray to the Lord. Like, Lord, I need a lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but that's what it's about, though, man. We just brought out this information, man, just to, was it more, bro?
That was it on it.
Yeah, brought out this information, man, just to, do our part, man, and, just try to bring the awareness to Jake, and those like-minded, man, to, be aware that we're not ignorant of this devil's devices, man. And hey, listen, prepare, brace for the impact, man. With that, you want to say something, bro?
That was it on it.
Yeah, with that, we're going to give all praises to Heavenly Father.
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashur, Kakadash. Shalom. Chemotherapy 2025.